Hi, I'm Keith from Allen and Heath, and we're going to have a look at how quick it is to get mixing with CQ. Starting in the home screen, we have a quick start button, which allows us to recall a complete setup without getting rid of the scenes that you've already got stored. But we're going to look at input by input. So if we go over to the config screen, you can see we've got all of our inputs at the top, and we can select these individually and control them at the bottom. So once I've got everything hooked up and plugged in, I can run through these one by one and I can name and color them. If I know what I'm plugging in, I can actually use the library from this screen and it will recall with a name and color. But I can obviously change this afterwards as well. And once everything is connected up and named, I can actually set all of my gains at the same time with the gain assistant. So if I use multi-select, touch and drag, hit auto set, and it will set all of those gains for me. So that's my inputs. Now I want to set up my outputs. So I go over to the Outputs tab, and again, I can select the sockets. I can use the library option here if I've got something stored, and you'll see there's some other options now. I've got output delay, input send levels can be pre or post fader, and I also have an EQ type option here. So I can either use a GEQ on the output or a PQ and feedback assistant. And that's independent per output. Moving over to the processing screen, I've now got that quick channel that I set up, and you can also see some complete channels here. So all of the quick and complete channels can live side by side. Any of the inputs can be quick or complete. And if I want to adjust a quick channel, I just touch on the icon and use this single control on this strings one knob. Or if I want to adjust parameters on a complete channel, I can select each of the independent blocks for preamp, gain, PQ, and compressor. So the quick channels and complete channels can live side by side, but at any point I can convert from a quick channel to a complete channel, say if I want a little bit more control over a compressor or PQ. To do this, I select the quick channel, select the drop-down box, and hit convert. For the outputs, it's very similar. So I have GEQ on some of these outputs and a PEQ and feedback assistant on a couple of others. And again, I've got a compressor option here. The outputs also feature a limiter. So that's great if you're using in-ears or monitors where you're worried that the signal is going to peak. For all inputs and outputs, I can choose to list them individually from the headphone out by just selecting the PFL or listen key here. And once I'm happy with my processing, I can move over to the fader screen. So this is where you're going to live most of the time when you're mixing. And this gives you access to all the main levels to a mix. This is also where you'll be able to mute individual channels. Or if you want a larger fader and you don't want to accidentally hit a mute, you can select faders only. For more information on CQ and all Allen and Heath products, visit allen-heath.com.